Hey, in this video, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the new UAD Generation 2 of their X series interfaces. Um, I've been using Apollo Twin MK2 now probably for about 5 years, and it's been okay. I mean, to be honest, it's kind of a downgrade, I think, in terms of preamps and converters from what I was using before, which was a Antelope Zen Tour. The converters in the Zentor were fantastic, and the preamps were also really, really nice, detailed, quiet, and basically what you put in was what you got out. Really nice sounding. But unfortunately, their software and drivers were really shoddy, and it wasn't reliable enough for me, and I had too many headaches of just troubleshooting the drivers and the software. And yeah, it was a frustrating experience, and their support was also a very frustrating experience to deal with. So I ended up selling it at a loss and picking up an Apollo Twin MK2 quad, which, to be honest, I thought was a little bit pricey for what it was, but it's been pretty reliable. I have to say that the native low latency performance at low sample buffers is not great. And when they're sort of questioned about that performance or whether they could improve that with the driver update, their representatives have basically told me that it's not meant for low latency native performance, which is very unfortunate because they could really have the best of both worlds if they have the low latency monitoring with the UAD console and their effects, and then also well optimized low latency performance at low sample buffers. But unfortunately, they don't seem to have much interest in doing that. Um, yeah, so basically, the update for the Gen 2 of the X series, they've got improved converters, improved headphone amps, auto gain, and one of the better features, something that I would have really liked to have seen come to the Apollo Twin MK2 and older Apollos, is they now integrate with SonarWorks. So you can have SonarWorks calibration on your headphone output, which would be great for me for Slate VSX if I could get the HD Linear 2 calibration. I'd be very happy. That mean that I could mic up things and use HD Linear to hear exactly like phase relationships and all that kind of stuff between mics, and finding the right sweet spot for miking up acoustic guitars would be so much easier. And yeah, that would have been a really nice thing. But apparently, they're not able to support that on the Apollo Twin MK2. I'm not entirely sure why, or I don't know. It seems like it should be simple enough for them to update console and have an insert for the headphones and an insert for the main output, and then you just put your SonarWorks calibration on the monitors and then again on the headphones, and you're done. But apparently not. There's a part of me that is cynical and suspicious and thinks that UAD have done this intentionally so that people that own older Apollos basically have to buy the same thing again, just an X series. So this is going to be supported on the first generation X series and the newer X series. I think some of the other features are exclusive to the Gen 2 of the X series. But it's pretty disappointing. Also, the price of the Apollo Twin Gen 2 X Duo core is now the same price as the quad core, and the quad core is like £400 more, or $500 basically more expensive than the last generation, which is also crazy. I think they're justifying the excessive sort of gross inflated price by including a bundle of software for someone like me or anybody that has owned an Apollo for a while, and they're thinking, oh, if I want these new features, I'll need to upgrade. Uh, yeah, you're gonna have to pay through the nose for it. Even like the Essentials bundle is £400 more expensive than the previous generation was. And it just goes up from there. There's no option to buy it without the software, even if you own the software already, which is also just like, I don't know, just seems, it makes me cynical. It makes me think that they're just trying to squeeze their customers for as much money as possible. So that's really disappointing. Also disappointing, they're using the same ancient DSP chips in 2024. They really needed to have like started working on a next generation of those chips about 10 years ago. They've been around for at least 15 years and they've never been updated. And they've never had great bang for buck. I guess the real plus of the Apollo series is that you can track and monitor at low latency regardless of the sample buffer. But yeah, personally, I don't ever think that they've been a great value proposition. The fact that the MK2 and the older Apollos aren't getting supported with the newer features is pretty disappointing. I did ask representatives why, and they sort of said that the internals were different on the X series. And I kind of said that didn't really clarify things. And they said that the newer models have basically updated FPGA chips that can be, I guess, configured to support the features that they're implementing now. I still am not entirely convinced that it wouldn't be possible to update the MK2 and older Apollos with the SonarWorks calibration, because it does seem like the DSPs there just be a matter of updating the console and adding an insert that you could add the calibration file to on the headphones and on the the main output. So I'm not really understanding why that wouldn't work, like that you couldn't route that in that way virtually. I'm confused as why the hardware would be a limitation there when it seems like it could be done in software. Other than that, it seems like now they're also starting to charge for the UAD versions of their plugins. So for example, the SSL plugins that just came out, if you own one of them, I think it's a $49 upgrade to get the native version, and they're calling them plus versions now because they've added sidechain into them. So it seems like probably going forward, they're going to start adding just small features into them that can justify saying that you need to pay for the native version, because it's not actually, it's like an MK2 or MK3 of that particular plugin. So that's kind of unfortunate too. I think if you own both the SSL plugins, you can update for like $9.99 or $10 basically. Other than that, some of the plugins that they've released lately have basically just been repackaged stuff that they've already released. So like the LA2A and the 1176, they sort of put them both together into one thing and resold them to people. That's not a great look. And then a lot of the stuff that's coming out at the minute as well, the stuff that they just released is like the native versions of their guitar pedals, and then a vocal channel strip thing that seems to be a thing competing with auto tune that also has compressors, and basically it has some of the algorithms from their other compressor plugins like the LA2A and the 1176, and probably some form of saturation. And so it's just repackaged in a fancier, modern graphical user interface and then sold at premium. So at the minute, my opinion on UAD is kind of not that great. The value proposition of investing in a Gen 2 or even getting a second-hand Gen 1 of the X series just to get the the SonarWorks. The SonarWorks is actually a $79 or €79 uh, upgrade as well to get that. So if you own SonarWorks already and you have a compatible UAD interface, it's €79 to be able to load your calibration profile into it. So I'm kind of thinking at the minute I'd be better off buying the IK Multimedia Arc 4 Studio that comes with the mic, the little hardware box that goes between your monitors and your interface outputs. And it's a set it and forget it. And it's like, at the minute, actually, it's about £244 on Amazon. I was tempted to buy it yesterday, and then I thought I'll hold off and I'll pick it up again in a sale. But that seems like a better route for me to go. Other than that, I think UAD are making me regret having invested in their ecosystem. So, for example, the Sphere is a really good mic, but it kind of relies on having the real-time processing in the interface to have to make it fully usable. I could use like a RME Digiface USB and expand that out with additional optical ADAT preamps and use it there with the native version of the plugin, but there are two mic packs with UAD and the Sphere that are exclusive to the DSP at the minute. So I'm sort of tied to the Apollo because the favorite mic that I have is in the Ocean Way. It's the Model 2 of the C12. Is my favorite for acoustic guitars and vocals and stuff. It's basically what I've been using. So until they make those native, hopefully they do at some point, I'm kind of tied to the Apollo Twin. I'm bummed out that I can't use the SonarWorks update because it would be great. Recently I bought a pair of Neumann NDH20s, which are closed back versions. I almost bought the NDH30s, but people were telling me that they were very, the bleed would be excessive for recording acoustic instruments and stuff. So I went for the NDH20s, which are the closed back versions. I'll do a review on them soon. So far, I've been impressed with them, and I think that they're really, really good for tracking with, but they're not as neutral as I would like. So they could be better in that regard, and the calibration, again, would come in very handy on the headphone output, but I guess I'm out of luck there when it comes to UAD, so I think when the time comes, the next upgrade of a audio interface, I'll probably end up phasing UAD out unless something significant changes there. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the new X series UAD interfaces and the seeming changes in the policies on UADX native plugins. I know that this video probably comes across as overly negative in a sea of like people praising it, but I'm just trying to be realistic here. I think if you were new in the audio recording, it's still not a great value proposition. Like it's an overpriced interface. The price is grossly inflated by the plugin bundles, and they are £400 to £500 more expensive than the previous generation, which I just find kind of offensive. As somebody that would have considered potentially buying one of their new ones and selling my current interface, which is annoying to even think about because it's having to go through the selling something that's a high value and then reinvesting that money into basically the same product again, just with an X. Okay, it's got slightly better headphone amps, slightly better converters, and exactly the same ancient DSP, exactly the same limited inputs and outputs, only 2 preamps, only 1 ADAT input. It's like not not great value. So difficult to recommend to anybody. And I guarantee there'll be just a ton of like very, very positive videos about UAD and the new interfaces and how amazing they are and why you need them and how brilliant the software is. And I mean, their plugins are good, but there's nothing there that I couldn't live without, you know? And like a lot of them, I don't find myself reaching for too much lately at all. Anyway, you know, there are some that I really like the um, 175B and 176 compressor collection is good, very good. Ocean Way Studios, waiting for that to come native. The Fatso, waiting for that to come native. The Lexicon 480L would be good to have. I mean, there are a handful of plugins that they have left that they could put native that would be really good to have. Other than that, I don't know. There's not that much that I reach for all the time. The Sound City Studios is pretty good for adding a bit of room sound. Capital Chambers is a really nice reverb as well. But yeah, some of the stuff actually on that's exclusive, like the C-Suite C vocal on the C-Suite. I'll maybe do a video on that too. The C-Suite Axe, C-Axe or whatever it's called. But basically, it'll get rid of the hum or 60 cycle hum or just dynamically reduce the noise. So it's almost like having a gate that's totally transparent, that doesn't interfere with your playing, which is actually really, really cool. Their C Voice plugin as well is also excellent for voiceovers and stuff. I was going to rig it all up through the Apollo and through like a little IK rig thing into the phone, and I just thought actually the microphone on the phone is probably good enough. So yeah, I'll hopefully be back with more videos soon. I haven't been terribly motivated to make YouTube content lately because I'm kind of looking at the landscape of YouTubers, and they're all just salesmen trying to sell you stuff and trying to make you spend as much money. It's all sponsored videos, and even the snake oil guy is like starting to peddle snake oil with Timu studio things that he's getting paid to do, and I don't know. It's all getting weird. As I say, it's making me a bit cynical, and the way that a lot of these audio companies are behaving now is also making me cynical. I kind of feel like the days of like the plugin bubble has burst. You know, I mean, most people probably have more plugins than they ever really need, or a lot of people are probably realizing that they never needed any of the plugins in the first place, and that everything that was included in their DAW is more than enough. I think the first plugin that I ever bought was a tape plugin, and then I disappeared down a rabbit hole of emulations. And before that, I know I listened to some of the mixes that I was doing before that, and they were really clean, really good. I didn't need anything outside of what was in Cubase. So, yeah, 10 years later, probably thousands of pounds later, and there's a handful of plugins that I use to mix, and I'm getting the best mixes that I can get. And part of that is the likes of room treatment, monitor calibration, Sleep VSX. Actually is like a godsend. I can sit and mix with a laptop on the move with Sleep VSX, and I have no issues at all hearing things accurately and trusting what I'm hearing and making creative decisions or surgical decisions in the mix or a master. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, anyway, long video, bit of a rant, but needed to get that off my chest because I've been thinking about it the last couple of days, and I'm seeing all the positive videos about it, and I thought someone needs to give a counter argument. And yeah, hopefully I don't get a backlash because of this. Okay, cheers. Take it easy. Bye.